going to learn about Venn diagram. But what is a Venn diagram? It's a kind of chart that we can use so we can compare things. What things and what can we compare? We can compare different things. For example, here I'm comparing some kinds of sports like soccer, basketball, and volleyball. This is the Venn diagram. It's conformed by 3 circles or more. You can use just 2 or the number that circles that you want. What can we put inside the circles? For this one, we can put in things that only the sport of soccer has. For example, how we can play soccer. We use our feet to play soccer, to kick the ball. And for basketball, something that it's only for basketball, the basket. Because only basketball we use a basket, so we can score points. And volleyball, we have for example, the sand. These elements are only for these sports. You can play soccer kicking the ball with your feet, only in soccer. In basketball, you have a basket to play. And in volleyball, you have sand. But if you can see here, there is a little point in common between the 3. And what could that be? Obviously, the ball. Why? Because each sport that is here on the board needs a ball so they can be played. So, the common thing between these 3 sports is the ball. But otherwise, what we have here, a common thing between volleyball and basketball. What that could be? That we need one to play with volleyball and basketball. Or hands. So, that is one thing that is common only between basketball and volleyball. And that's how Venn diagrams works. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Today I'm going to talk about this graphic organizer. It's called the Brace Map. It's also known as Warrior Diagram or diagram. Because Jean-Dominique developed this Brace Map in France and Kenneth Orr developed this Brace Map in USA. So we're gonna see the uses. It is used to identify the main ideas. It's also used to show the structure of the information. The basic elements. There are 3 important elements. The top section, which is localized in the top of the sheet. It's also the main part because it contains the main ideas and the introduction. Then the body in the middle. And the end section, which contains the conclusion. Then we have the brackets. The brackets are to divide and to show each level of the system. Here we have the title, then we have the subtitles, and then information. To end, I have to say that some important facts. In the Brace Map, you have to write, and it also processes the definitions. That's all. Thank you. Right from left to right. You should know that it shows the data definition.
Good morning, this is Ademar. I'm going to talk about a little bit about this diagram. This specifically is called linear diagram. First of all, I have to say that this doesn't have an author. It was developed through the years by the students. It basically consists in taking notes, and this is a summary of every note that you have. For example, while the reader is reading text, you are taking notes, and after you are taking notes, you summarize and put everything that you understood in this diagram. And that's it. It's very simple. It is very useful because you can reread, rewrite everything that you want and to feel ready for your test. Thank you.
Good afternoon, teacher. Today I'm talking about the star diagram. What is a star diagram? A star diagram is used for facts, characteristics, or questions based on a single topic. Star charts useful graphic organizer for brainstorming. How to make it? Step 1. Select and write the main topic in the center of the star diagram. Step 2. Write down the characteristic on each point of the star. Step 3. Add the points of the star depending on how many traits you write down. I could find the author. The author was. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm going to talk about the graphic organizers. Well, we know that the graphic organizers are very important to teach some topic specific. This is very useful to teachers and students. Well, here I have some examples of graphic organizer. First, here we have the concept map. That is a map that all of us know. This topic is very helpful to have the clear ideas. Also, we have the circle map. The circle map this is a cycle map. We can use pictures or also sentences and words. This is very interesting when we want to explain a topic that have no end and is repeats and repeat and repeat. Then also we have the circle map that is similar to the cycle map, but this is more to use in other kind of topics, and here we use more words than pictures. And one of the most important graphic organizers for me is the timeline. Well, we know that our general impression of timeline is that they show linear relationship between events to provide a basic understanding of them. However, these graphics can have much more depth using different spatial arrangements and color gems. One timeline can branch off from an event or another timeline, showing the more complex nature of how separate incidents are related and dependent. Here also we can use pictures and photos. For example, just students can understand the topic just to seeing the map and seeing the pictures. It's not necessary to read the words. And also in this kind of map, graphic organizer, we can use concepts, sentences, pictures. And I think it is very useful to students understand in a good way the topic that we as a teachers want to explain them. And also they can use this to have clear the ideas of the most important idea of the topic. For those reasons, I think that this is a very useful graphic organizer.
Jimena Conde Alvarado, and now I'm going to explain about this graphic organizer called IdeaWeb. For this example, I used my topic about chain communication. Well, for IdeaWeb, we have the main concept that is a brainstorming thread. Is a tool used for brainstorming and helps to organize ideas or concepts. It's made up with circles, as you can see in the example. Also, we can use some squares, so there is no problem. A topic is written in the circle, in the central circle, and then some details, some principal ideas. And in the smaller circles, we can write some details in order to have enough information about the topic. For example, here we have the main topic, the title that is chain communication. Around it, we have some principal ideas, for example, attention, expression, monitoring feedback, total communication, understanding, and hearing. And for these ideas, we have some details. For example, for hearing, we have many people have identified hearing problems. And also, if we have more information or if we want to put more details, so we can put in some circles. For example, for expression, ways to express ourselves. For this, we want to get more information, so we put speech, symbols, body language, and sync. And that's enough. We can put some details, but we don't have to put graphics. That's the main difference between IdeaWeb and, for example, mine. We just need some ideas in order to understand the topic. But it's better if you don't put many details because it could be a lot of letters and a lot of text, and it could be very boring to read. So, how to make it? Step 1 is write the main topic in the central circle. In this example, our main topic is chain communication. For step 2 is to identify the main ideas and write them in the surrounding circles. I decided to put some squares instead of circles, so there's no problem. But I put the main ideas of the text about chain communication. That, in my case, was attention, expression, monitoring feedback, hearing, understanding, and total communication. And finally, our step 3 include additional information as needed in the surrounding circles. For every principal idea, we have some details in order to understand better the idea. And as I said before, if we need more details, we can put in another circles. That helps to show you. It helps you to understand better the principal idea. And that's it. That's IdeaWeb. Thanks.
Good afternoon, teacher. My name is Lorena Andrea Martinez Duran, and today I'm going to explain you about Venn diagrams. A Venn diagram is an illustration that shows relationships among things or finite groups of things. They are shown by using circles. Circles that overlap share a commonality, while circles that do not overlap do not share those traits. Venn diagrams help to visualize and represent the similarities and differences between two concepts. They have been known because they are very helpful educational tools. Venn diagrams derive their name from John Venn, who popularized their use in the 1880s, with his paper entitled The Diagrammatic and Mechanical Representation of Proposition and Reasonings. But Venn diagrams have been known since much longer ago, because philosophers and mathematicians have been employing them since the 13th century. As you can see in this example, we can see what Venn diagrams means and how they are employed in educational tools. We can see that this is a Venn diagram about human communication, and here we can see that there are two concepts: the encoder's message and the receiver's decodification. And in between those two concepts, we have a message that it's a similarity that they both share. And that's the use of Venn diagrams. Thank you so much.
Okay, hello teacher. I'm going to explain about the idea wheel as a graphic organizer. And as you can see, the idea wheel is the mixture between circle map and the spider map man. The main idea of this graphic organizer is to organize information between the middle circle, that you can see the main idea of this topic, and in the rest of the correlation you can see the specific topics like this idea and conjunction. It is very useful to organize in a correlative sequence that you can continue the ideas in the first in the middle and then in the rest. And that's the main idea of this graphic organizer. Thanks.
Good afternoon, teacher. My name is Maybeth Eliasiñani Uruño. I will explain the timeline. A timeline is a graphical representation that allows you to see and understand time sequence between events. Timelines are a visual tool to chronological order and explain process or events that have occurrence or over a period of time. What is time for? A timeline is used to easily visualize time of moment in a story instead of writing long text. What is done is to summarize the most important points and place then of graphic line and goes from other points and another. That's all. Bye, teacher.
Good morning, teacher. This is Yvonne Quispe, and I'm going to explain you the sequence diagrams. The sequence diagrams. The sequence diagrams, as you can see, is a diagram used to explain some events or some things or steps to follow in order to get some objectives. This diagram begins with this. It can be any figure. This is a circle, but it can be a triangle or rectangle. Any shape that the author of this diagram is well comfortable of. The second step is to put an arrow and to put another shape, and to put an arrow and to put another shape. This is, as I said, to explain some steps, maybe step 1, step 2, step 3, or some events, event 1, event 2, event 3. This sequence diagram is used for explaining some historical events. For example, what happened at 2009, what happened at 2011, what is happening now in 2022. And these sequence diagrams can have some more objects. For example, in this, we're going to call it step 1. This step 1 can have some concept in order to explain what is about this step 1. Also, the second step. It can be a concept or a definition or an explanation. And also the third. It can be, as I've said, an explanation, a definition, a concept, or some information that helps to explain this step 1. So we have, in this case, we have 3 principal ideas, but it's in sequence or steps. And we have some information about this idea, information about this idea, information about this idea. And the important thing is that these ideas are connected by arrows, because arrows represent the sequence, the step, that this follows this step. And this one, or the last one, follows this, and this follows this. That is why we use arrow in the sequence diagram. And that's all, teacher.
Good afternoon, teacher. My name is Geisa. Today I will talk to chain event organizer. Here you can see on a graphic. Chain diagrams, also called sequence of events diagrams, are a type of graphic organizer that describe the stage or steps in a process. The students must be able to identify the first step in the process of the resulting stage in the procedure as they unfold and the outcome. A timeline is a type of graphic organizer that shows specific events in sequence, usually with dates in a linear fashion. Timelines are particularly useful for studying or reviewing history because the timeline will visually display major events or over a period of time. Thank you.
Start diagram. This graphic organizer is initially framed by Brenda Zimmerman. For doing this map, this start is so important. Decide the main topic, then add the characteristics or elements of the point, the start.
According to the website Bisme, this graphic organizer, the idea wheel, works for brainstorming and organizing ideas at the same time. The center of the chart holds the main topic which is being studied and used where it can be other circles or shape, a section, a larger circle, or connected bubbles. Starting from 2009 academic year, the instructional coaches in a school district in Northwest American City began to provide workshop 2 to elementary school English teachers. This study aims to discuss the use of graphic organizers in elementary teachers' professional development. Different types of graphic organizers such as conceptual development charts, Venn diagrams, and the idea wheel were used by the instructional coaches in workshop 2 in this academic study. English teachers were expected to implement these graphic organizers into their classroom practice and help their English learners understand academic language and content knowledge. The provision of graphic organizers, in special the idea wheel, help the participant teachers and learn the process, the knowledge and concepts taught in workshop 2. Participant teachers apply the T-chart and bubble maps and the idea wheel to introduce their knowledge and the topics they were talking about. And this give practice and professional development to their students.
Hello teacher, my name is Rilka Lorena Soroco Guzman and I will talk about Venn diagram. Okay, Originated from graph theory, Venn diagrams are also extensively used in our everyday documentation. In this, two or more components are compared with each other. Apart from listing their differences, we also note down their similarities. That is why they are also known compare and contrast organizers. Okay, who is the creator? Was introduced in 1990 by John Venn in a paper in the Philosophical Magazine and Journal Science. How to use? We need compare two or more datasets. Each circle represents a different dataset. For example, in this diagram, we have source encoder and receiver decoder. Is different dataset. The area of intersection contains similar elements of both groups. For example, in this case, we have a message between source encoder, receiver decoder. So is our diagram, Venn diagrams. Thanks, teacher. See you.
Good morning. Today we are going to learn about the Idea Wheel Graphic Organizer. The Idea Wheel Graphic Organizer is a mixture, it's a fusion, it's an idea born from two different graphic organizers that were previously established, like the Spider Organizer and the Circle Organizer. But what is different about the Idea Wheel Organizer? For starters, we have to understand that the Idea Wheel Graphic Organizer is a sequence chart. It's sequential. What do you understand when you say sequential? It follows steps. It follows a lot of steps that helps to visualize a complex process. For example, here we have an example. You go from a main idea. You put a lot of topics on there, and you have this idea. You have steps that flows from it, steps that grows from it, steps that marks or point one. Now, our first step. Let's take this as a recipe, as a process, as a sequence. You go to the first point. You underline what's the first point about, and you give some tips on it. Later, you go to the next step, to the point two. The point two is a natural progression on point one. And there you also mark what's the point two. And later, after you detail everything, you go to the point three. The point three then treats you with all the content for later going to the point four. And that's when the point four completes the cycle, completes the sequence, and helps to visualize in a simple way a process. Because as a student, it's very easy, it's more easy to capture the idea, to get the idea if you present it like this, if you present the details perfectly established, perfectly sequenced, and perfectly contained in a specific area. So, if you want to have a good sequence, if you want to have a good flow of information that's natural, you have to use the Idea Wheel Graphic Organizer.
Idea Wheel. What is an idea wheel? It's a graphic organizer that helps us organize our ideas. You may ask, why is it called an idea wheel? Well, it's kind of obvious. It's a wheel and it's to represent ideas. The idea wheel generates from two other graphic organizers, which is the spider web and the circle of reflection, or something like that. Yeah. And this graphic organizer helps us because we focus on a main idea and then we go on to expand to different topics that we may want to add to our exposition or maybe a speech. It helps us organize our ideas. That is the main important part of this organizer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike and this is my concept map. This is a diagram or graphical tool that visually represents the relationship between concepts and ideas. You can use it with boxes and circles connected with lines or arrows. Many times these lines have a linking words to help to explain the connections between ideas and concepts. In this map we can see the main idea, the secondary ideas, and the concepts of each idea. Bye.